Hey, what is up, everyone? H19 here with a really important video. I've been really thinking about making this one for actually quite a while, but I kind of wanted to hold on to this until at least the last major event of the year. And now I'm pretty much ready to kind of get some ideas out there. I mean, I've been kind of sharing them here and there, uh, but I wanted to make a full video on it and really give it to everyone to really use and apply to basically their deck building. And this is kind of like a rethinking how people deck build video and essentially trying to solve the format. That's why I titled it as such. But before we get to that, I do want to just remind people, do have an IG page. Just looking, uh, have a decent amount of posts there. I mean, like I said, I've just kind of been posting events that I go to and stuff. And yeah, sometimes some behind the scenes stuff as well in the story. So definitely appreciate following that. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already. I always do appreciate that. So yeah, let's get to it. So I've been pretty much thinking about this since RBT Chicago, and that's thanks to one major deck that kind of popped out of that event. And just give me a second to get it up on here, and that would be this deck right here, the Nitro Vayu deck. There was a lot of really, like, I guess, hype and interest over this deck since that top in RBT Chicago, and a lot of the hype has died down recently. But I think there's still a lot of great ideas that we could take away from this. This deck was piloted by uh, RJ Scarpelli, Dirk Wagner, and Matt Kalenda. Uh, and there were the only three players at that event that played this deck, and they all topped. RJ making it all the way to the finals as well. So very, very good showing for this deck. Uh, I was TO at this event, and right before deck checks, pretty much right at the last round, I was very curious to see what they were playing. And up to this point, like, I'm familiar with RJ Dirk and Dirk's brother Nick for playing the infamous Dupless Frog variant, which I myself have personally been playing pretty much up till that point, up till RBT Chicago. I've been very dedicated to playing their version of that deck, and even got a top at MWEC with their Dupless Frog deck, which was, like I said, they just figured something out about, like I said, their deck building and stuff. So when it came to RBT Chicago time, and time for me to look at the deck list and start doing like the deck checks and stuff, of course, the one that I was most curious about was this deck right here. And right away, I noticed some very much that the two decks were very similar. This Nitro Value deck and the Dupless Hero Frog deck, which I will pop up on screen in a sec. There we go. So yeah, this is the Dupless Hero Frog deck, and I mean, I'm sure you guys can notice some similarities as well. Obviously, like upstarts being the huge one, and then obviously thinking outside the box and cutting certain cards, like in this deck cutting Dupe, and the other deck cutting cards like Raiko Hamster Caius, you know. Uh, so I decided to kind of like look at the similarities and stuff, and really use that as a formula for deck building. Uh, and essentially, uh, came down to this conclusion right here. So, uh, first, first biggest thing, upstarts. Upstarts in every deck should be 37 cards at a cost of up to 3,000 life points to your opponent, right? You're trying to make your deck as consistent as possible, and this really helps with that. And to touch on consistency, I noticed that in their Dupless Hero Frog deck, they up the consistency by adding an emergency call. So they're playing, even though they don't play that many targets for the Rhoda and the to emergency calls, they still decided to uh, like just be hyper consistent. 37 cards, search as like your engine as fast as possible. Vayu, on the other hand, doesn't really have an easy way to do that. So they decided to up their consistency with some draw traps, totaling up to 3 legacies and 1 jar. Uh, I mean, this is concept I'm not too unfamiliar with. Obviously, from last year, winning RBT LA with a Blackwing deck that plays 6 draw traps, and even myself wanting to play upstarts but just couldn't fit them at the time. But then definitely after looking at these concepts here and like the way they deck build, I've definitely uh like I said, just grabbed some of these ideas and implemented them into just try to think like how else can I implement them, right? And I guess I'll get to that in a bit, but I do want to finish out these other things over here. I noticed they also play like a lot of these staple cards, right? So Heavy Storm, MST, uh, Mirror Force, Torrential, Dust Shooter are pretty much in all their decks, and then they actually always opt to play Deep Prisons in the main, and they actually cut bottomlesses from the main. Now, there's a little sneak peek. You guys could probably hear or see this in a Sackface video coming up. But Matt Kalenda was still playing Nitro Value at our most recent TGS monthly, and he actually did change that up, putting the bottomlesses in the main. But I think that's kind of just to change things up, and people uh, might be a bit surprised. You know, it can't be too predictable, right? So you know, I think Matt kind of just decided to change that up for that specific tournament. I think that Deep Prison is like one of the staples in this RJ Wagner uh, like deck building thing where they feel like Deep Prison is a better card to see pretty much at all points of the game, whether it be early, mid, or late. They just feel like it's just an overall better card rather than bottomless, where it's not that great into an established board. Um, and then Mirror Force Torrential does shoot some of the most powerful traps in the deck or in the game, especially in Edison format. They decided these are staples in pretty much every deck. A couple other things that we learned is Brain Control. I guess is an optional card now. This is not a staple. They do play it in their Dupless Frog deck, but I saw that they completely cut it from their value list. Another thing, Solemn Judgment. They cite it in their Dupless Frog deck, but they main it in their value list. I think this card is really strong in uh, decks like Vayu. I mean, it's a really strong card in general, but if you know how to utilize it, it's a really good like checkmate card. It's like I said, it's pretty much a staple in most decks. Uh, Another thing that I realized is when they cut the bottomlesses from like the main deck, you have to make sure you have a way to deal with. Essentially, I call it like the whirlwind problem, where bottomless kind of deals with that to an extent where it stops their turn, like their plays for the whole turn. Because I mean, Blackwings is a deck where like the normal summon is really important. So if you bottomless them, and then they have obviously the whirlwind still up, like that just creates like a turn skip, and they're also playing with essentially one less card because whirlwind only really does something that when it starts searching. The way they do it in Hero Frogs is with Regeki Break, and the good thing about Regeki Break is you have the option to choose to destroy either the monster or the whirlwind. Um, in the Nitro value, they max out on Icarus attack, and that deals with both things at the same time. But then also, Icarus attack is just a really good um, way to like stop like pushes into like your established board. And I remember this is like one of the reasons why they were having a lot of success because I mean it people just have to play into your board and you get blown out by a card by Icarus. Reggae Break is just a really good generic card to remove like either both back row or or monsters. And again, Icarus is kind of the same thing. You could remove either back row or monsters or both. Uh, and yeah, like I said, this formula right here, I think if we take this to other decks, which I have done already, in one specific deck, and I've been thinking about other decks that I could do it in. Uh, like I think this really optimizes consistency in decks, and we're getting to the point in Edison where I think the opening is probably the most important thing. How you open, there really isn't. I mean, and it's not that there isn't as much grinding, but if you don't get to, like, I guess, like playing the game early enough, you're just gonna get blown out. Because I mean, the way people play is like very tight now. The gameplay is like there's just not as many misplays these days, so there's not really as many chances to try to catch up into a game. All right, and then one more thing I want to touch about is uh, their idea with side decking. As you notice, I have these cards down here. These are floodgates, right? So I noticed in their Hero Frog deck, they play the Vanity's Fiend, uh, and they try to really like lock out like certain matchups. Like Vanity's Fiend is mainly just for the mirror, really, but I mean, you could probably use it against like the combo decks as well. So they always have like this idea, like sometimes there are just games or matchups where I I don't want my opponent to play, and that's one of the ideas that I kind of notice and try to implement as well. I noticed they decided to do line imprisoning mirror because I guess with the Vayu, they do line imprisoning in the Nitro Vayu. Uh, I guess Lighthorn's just a tricky matchup or tough matchup, and I guess it kind of showed in the finals of RBC Chicago uh, how I mean, it's. I mean, Nitro Value didn't win, right? They did, like I said, great performance, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. Uh, but they do have a strategy, and I feel like if you see this card early enough, you definitely just win the game right there. Obviously, if it goes unanswered as well. And I did put this Imperial Iron Wall because I this is kind of like a card that I've been playing personally myself as a Blackwing player, which I guess let's just pull that up really quick, yeah. How I brought this concept into Blackwings. And this is a deck that uh I'm very, very familiar with, obviously from my past. I'm familiar with like the drawing like really like drawing your cards, drawing your whirlwinds, and the other thing was the floodgate thing. So I did add the floodgates. I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with the floodgates, uh, but I mean, I just noticed how important like a strategy like this is, uh, and how it could be utilized in this. That being said, I don't think it's 100% necessary. I might try different side deck strategies in the future, uh, but this has worked for me in the past, and even up to recently at the TGS Monthly, I got top 4 with this exact list right here that you see on screen. Uh, and yeah, so what did we do to Blackwings? So as mentioned earlier, in the main deck, here are the upstarts. Here are the 4 draw traps for consistency. So it's literally the exact same ratio as they used in their Nitro value list. Uh, and then the other thing we did is main deck, we don't have bottomless or brain control, so we don't play those cards. We do still always have to side deck the bottomless. I don't know if you guys noticed, but bottomless is always in the side deck for both the dupless frogs and the nitro value deck. They both side deck the bottomlesses, and so that's moving the bottomless to the side. With that, we like I said, we always got to make sure we have that. As I mentioned earlier, the whirlwind problem where you want to have to deal with either the monster or the whirlwind or both. And uh, I mean, Blackwings already has the 3 Icarus attacks, so we don't really have to make a change there to the deck. And aside from that, making sure we play all the staples, so heavy, MST, uh, Mirror Force, Torrential, Dust Shoot. And I feel like Blackwings is also a deck where Solemn Judgment is really good, especially in a build like this where you kind of uh, are trying to be really consistent with the draw cards, seeing your Whirlwind, summoning your monsters, making sure your monsters go through. So Solemn Judgment is pretty important with that, as well as making sure your OTKs go through, like when you go for like a huge Blizzard push. Other thing I would say is I forgot that Gorse is in all the decks as well. So Gorse, I guess, is another one of those staple cards, especially with the draw traps. Like Gorse becomes so good, and that's something that I've just personally realized for well over like a year or 2 years now. And yeah, I mean, this is what I came up with. Also, shout out to Oscar's Laya. I told him about some of these ideas, and he implemented them in his deck for LDS, and he had some pretty good results with it. Um, Obviously, I think the bottomlesses could. I don't blame you if you still try to play the bottomlesses, but one of the things that I guess the main thing would be is like really utilizing this upstart. You know, it's like upstart, and I know Oscar has been doing it uh, since forever, so it's definitely not a new thing. And I, I mean, I know we all know it's not a new thing because I mean, Patrick Hoban is a historical Yu-Gi-Oh player, one of the best of all time, arguably the best of all time, and really has always made us rethink how we build decks. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is what I've been thinking. Like I said, this side deck, I could definitely see myself trying something different. Like we don't always have to do this floodgate uh strategy. I could see myself doing like a more traditional strategy. To the point where like I started thinking like what other decks could we really utilize this in, and like what if we try to making like a regular value build. And I did do that. I played it at the monthly. The results wasn't that great. But I mean this is kind of just like a like what I've been thinking. Like you see, this is more of a traditional side deck, right? But a lot of the concepts are still in here with the upstart, the legacies, bottomlesses in the side. Uh, Again, bottomlesses. I'm not sure if that's necessarily correct. I mean, it's up to you. But I guess this is where I kind of want to throw it to you guys. Um, can you guys think of other decks we could utilize this in? I mean, if you guys throw me some deck list ideas, I would be more than happy to feature them in a future video. Just compile a bunch of deck lists of ideas using this. I guess we could either call it like the Nitro concept or the Hoban uh, concept. But yeah, I mean, this is all thanks to basically RJ, Dirk, Nick, and Matt Kalenda for really taking what we're used to and really just trying to change it up and make it hyper consistent and really just streamline the way we build the decks. So this is what I mean by solving Edison. As mentioned before, I think the gameplay is really tight. There's a the more we play this format, the less misplays there are, and also all the decks seem to be pretty optimized. So why not try to give ourselves the edge here and make our decks just that slightly more optimized, where our opening is always just a bit better, and we really just take initiative and start controlling the game essentially before it even started. And I feel like this concept is the perfect way to do that. So yeah, like I mentioned, if you guys have other deck ideas that you want to implement this in, please shoot them my way and I'll make another video about it. Aside from that, throw comments on anything else as far as what you think about this. I appreciate everyone for watching, and I look forward to the reply, comments, and everything. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on this one. So we will catch everyone in the next one. Peace.